Hello, everybody. Welcome to this TechnologyCatalogue.com webinar. Today, we'll focus on two asset integrity solutions from the Technology Catalog. My name is Vincent van Beuzenkom, Managing Partner at Deployment Matters, and I'm responsible for the Technology Catalog development and operations. Today, I'll be joined by Duco de Boer on my side from Falcker, Dennis de Witte from AquaSmart.
Good afternoon.
And Martin van der Heuvel, who's our expert regarding asset management within the Deployment Matters expert network, and he will lead you through the Q&A sessions after the presentation. Before we go to the first presenter, I would quickly like to guide you to the technology in the Technology Catalog. So what you see here is the homepage of the Technology Catalog. I'm navigating to the maintenance and integrity module. And there we see a number of submodules until we get to inspection, where if we go to view all technologies and see the actual full list of technologies, we find AquaSmart. I just hear that the screen sharing has failed. Let me just switch it on one more time. Here we see the AquaSmart entry. We see a quick introduction about the technology, the key pros and cons, information about AquaSmart, ability to ask a question directly to the AquaSmart team, the key specifications, deployment references, and the ability to leave reviews or read reviews from other users. I will not go into the details of the technology itself. I will obviously leave that to Dennis. So Dennis, I'll start your presentation and hand over to you.
Vincent, thank you so much for the introduction. So, as is already said, my name is Dennis de Witte. I'm the Manager Operations of AquaSmartXL and one of the founders. We have a company that uses aquatic drones to do unmanned inspections and surveying. Myself and the founder Marlon Drinkwaard, we both come from the Port of Rotterdam. And that's actually where we developed the idea, and from the Port of Rotterdam, we left to actually found AquaSmartXL. I can talk a lot about what we do and how we do it. And the best way, I think, to do it is by starting with an example. So imagine you want to inspect the pipelines underneath this jetty or the civil engineering construction. How are we going to do that? One of the options would be with flying drones. Unfortunately, that's not allowed here in the Netherlands, and also from a practical point of view, it's quite hard to do it outside of line of sight with no GPS, with the water close by. That's gonna go wrong pretty fast. One of the other options is, and this is quite common, is that manned vessels go underneath. As you can see, this is not really the most stable environment to work in. This is actually quite dangerous for the people involved. What happens a lot is building scaffolding around it. For a jetty, 2 weeks of building, 2 weeks of getting rid of the scaffolding. That's a month out of operation. That's a huge impact on the cost. And these are all the reasons why we developed our aquatic drone platform. So as you see here, this beauty, it's fully equipped with imaging and sensors to do full visual inspections, 3D modeling, and everything we need for the operation. And I would like to ask Vincent to start a video that shows how we do it.
The big advantage of doing an inspection with an aqua drone is that you can go very close to the jetty, and as an aqua drone is much smaller, it has much more flexibility compared with the conventional way.
Here in the port, it was much safer to use the aqua drone because the location was very difficult to access, especially taking into account that this is a port with a side.
We've done an aqua drone inspection for an old jetty in the port of Rotterdam. The result was that the prefabricated piles below the concrete deck were not on the position as shown on the PDF drawings. We did a double check on the results, and there's build drawings and photographs as delivered. After that we changed our design.
So what you just saw, Vincent, I think the presentation just got lost. There we are again. So what you just saw was our aqua drone in action. And to give a little bit more detail of what we actually do with this beautiful product is we combine visual inspections, and this is actually one of the inspection photographs we have taken underneath the jetty platform, which we use to assess the load-bearing construction, the civil engineering, the concrete. And this is something we do on a regular basis for many maritime infrastructure and civil engineering works. Together with full visual capturing, we also do 3D modeling, 3D point cloud modeling, and we create highly accurate point clouds based on photogrammetry. And together with that, we do standardized inspection reporting for the civil engineering construction. These data sets and these deliverables that we create with our aqua drones are not the ultimate value itself. The real value comes when you combine those three data sets, and we do that in our own cloud portal. And the cloud portal that we will see in the video that Vincent is going to start in about a minute will show you actually the added value of using an interface in 3D that shows exactly where the damages is, and that shows exactly what the inspector says about the damages. So instead of sharing 100 gigabytes of data, we create instant insight with our cloud portal where the 3D modeling, the inspection reporting, and the visual capturing is combined. Vincent, can you please start? So the true value of the way we inspect is actually in the combination of visual capturing, 3D modeling, and the inspection reporting. The cloud software actually calculates the civil engineering scores of the inspection automatically. What we also do is analyze the visual feed with self-recognizing algorithms for damages. For instance, metal constructions, we do rust detections automated, and we do concrete inspections automated. And this is actually the true value of our inspections. Everybody knows us because of the aquadrones, but the data analytics is at least as important for the way we operate. And because we make possible to compare measurements over time, we can combine T0, T1, T2 inspections and actually track and predict the deformations both in 3D and in the visual information that we capture. We have a lot of experience in projects in the oil and gas industry. We also work for municipalities and port operators. And for these clients, we do jetties, bridges, quay constructions, basically any high-value asset that is in or near the water. I would like to finish with an important question for all the viewers today. Are there any hard-to-reach places that you need inspecting? Because if that's the case, please let me know. My name is Dennis de Witte. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dennis. And looks like Martin was struggling a little bit with his connection, so I will take over in his place until we have him back online. For all of you online, I would like to invite you now to type your questions to Dennis via the chat function on the right-hand side. So if you have a question, or you would like to know if the tool would be suitable for an upcoming inspection scope that you have, please feel free to use the chat function. And while we wait for the questions to come in, Dennis, I may have a question actually for you. In our role, actually, we see quite a number of different tools in terms of the data on the data and gathering side, and very often also with their own data visualization, data platform tools. How do you work with let's say end users that already have an existing data platform where they want to use your tool just as a data acquisition source?
So for us, we are a service provider, and we actually offer a tailored solution for all our clients. The reason why we have our own visualization and our own platform is because we were looking for a way to actually create insight from the data that we gathered, and the current solutions in terms of software didn't really allow us to give a instant insight of the status of an asset with the current software tools. What we notice is that the visualization that we have is very powerful, but we're also very much used to delivering data sets and 3D models based on the client's wishes. So if you have your own software, we always make sure that you can download or integrate the data sets from our platform into your own software. And basically, there's always a solution to work with whatever software is available. Because the good thing of 3D point clouds is that you can easily transfer them to whatever format is needed for the software that's being used. And also for the data sets of photos and videos, we always make sure that you can use the photos outside of our own software portal.
Okay, thanks. Good that to see that we have Martin back. Martin, I would like to hand over to you to lead us through the rest of the Q&A and maybe some questions you have to start with. I see one online already.
So one of my questions is then the stability images when we're flying over the water, or you're not flying, you're as a boat going. how do you stabilize the image then?
That's actually done for all the visual capturing. That's done with a gimbal, and that's basically a 3-axis system that counteracts all the movement from the water and from the vessel. And because we use that, we have a stable video feed throughout the whole operation. This is also needed because without a stable camera, it's very hard to actually generate good, high-quality photos.
Okay, and the second question I have is on NDT. You mentioned that you can also equip drone with NDT solutions. Can you explain a few of those applications?
Yes, so this is actually a two-sided question. First of all, I would like to talk a little bit about our cloud solution, because our cloud solution is agnostic to the way information is gathered. As long as we have either visual or 3D modeling, we can actually correlate that with any other kind of data, and NDTs and the test results of non-destructive testing can easily be located and pinpointed in the 3D environment. We are currently working in our R&D to incorporate non-destructive testing from our AquaDrone. And we are looking at both concrete measurements and measurements for metal surfaces, including pulsed eddy current and ultrasound. And for the concrete, we are looking at echo impact and Smith-Hammer solutions.
Okay, and there's another question online on the platform. That's an interesting question. Who are your competitors? To be honest, I don't know any yet, but do you have any competitors already?
Well, we definitely have competitors in the broad sense of competing, because we compete with more traditional forms of inspection, which is a manned boat or divers, or I've even seen guys on a surf plank trying to get underneath a construction that was about 50 centimeters above the waterline. I wouldn't want to be there, but that's still ways in which inspections are being done around the world. So that's our competition in terms of the services that we offer. I do not know of any company that actually do the water-based inspections where they combine the 3D modeling, visual inspection, and automated inspection reporting on hard-to-reach places. One of the things that I did see is that there are manned vessels, quite large vessels, that have mobile 3D laser scanning and hydrographic surveying on the same ship. But this can only be done from places where big ships can sail, and they could never go underneath a jetty or a bridge or inside a quay construction. So is that a competitor? For us, our added value is being able to reach hard-to-reach places where it's dangerous to operate and where other technologies cannot come.
Okay, Dennis, thank you for the explanation. I think we should move on to the next presentation.
Yes, and I think just also for Thomas, for the other questions, I suggest you connect offline with Dennis, and then I'm sure he's more than happy to elaborate on that. So we'll move to the next technology today. And for that, I will guide you through the technology catalog again. So this time, from the home page, I'm going to the digitalization module. And again, I see what's happening. Apologies for that. It seems to drop out when I make the change, but we're back. Then navigating downwards in digitalization, there is also a section on maintenance and integrity. So we have it here in front of us. We see the initial technologies listed there randomly. And from there, we can further search, and we actually find digital asset condition monitoring, which is the technology by Falcker. And again, very similar page to the one you've just seen from AquaSmart, similar setup. But let me hand over from here to Duco, who will tell you more about their technology. So Duco, over to you.
So good afternoon. My name is Duco Boer. I'm the CIO of Falcker. And before I start my presentation, I would like to start with a small video to inspire everyone. And from there on, I will kick off with my presentation.
Well, Falcker is basically 2 or 3 things. We make software. We also create algorithms to recognize anomalies in pictures. We also provide services, drone inspection. And then when we need specialists, we have a lot of partners that can help us with that. So this is basically our strategy. Think big, start small, and then scale fast.
I'm going to the mission bank and selecting the tank for inspection. That's the mission we're going to do. I'm going to press launch the mission. So what happens right now is the drone receiving his mission from the cloud management software. Okay, system is ready. I'm going to press takeoff.
The operator hits the start button and the drone takes off, performs its inspection mission and lands in its docking without a pilot. Falcker believes this is the next step in achieving scalability of drone-based industrial inspection. You have less dependency on a certified pilot. The inspection planning is no longer stressed by weather conditions, and the drone robot becomes terminal equipment and is operated from the control room of the terminal. The technology is here today. New European drone regulations should be implemented in the summer of 2020 and allows for further exploration of this scenario. Together with the industry, the aviation authorities and the Harbour of Rotterdam, Falcker and Percepto agreed to make this possible for 2020. Okay, welcome back everyone. The first thing I would like to explain, we are not just a drone inspection company. We just use the drones as one of the channels of automated data gathering for our inspection software. But everyone loves the drones, so this is always the first thing that we show. For us, it's all about digital asset condition assessment for liquid bulk storage. We mainly work, currently work mainly within the Rotterdam area, and most of the terminals or the storage facilities were built between after the Second World War, between 1965 and 1985, which means we have a huge amount of aging assets. And normally you might want to replace these assets, but because of the uncertainty that the energy transition gives, lifetime extension is currently the main asset maintenance strategy. The tanks are about my age. My build year was 1973, so I'm now 46 years old, and this is also the average age of the tanks, and I can become 80, and so can the tanks. But the chance that I will have to see a doctor more often in the coming 30 years is very likely, and the tanks have the same problems. So the frequency of inspection and maintenance will increase. On the other side, we see that the real mechanical competent people, the workforce that grew up with these tanks and know everything about it, the average age of those has become above 50, which means we have a strong increase of inspection and maintenance efforts, also because of governance and stronger regulations. And at the same time, we have less asset integrity assessors and operators available in the market. So the big business challenge that we picked up was how to do more with less people. And we believe that digitalization can offer something there. Not by replacing human assessors, but by giving them the tools to do more work in less time and to cope with this increasing demand on asset integrity assessment. I already said the drone is just a data gathering tool for us. We are not mainly a drone operator. This is one of the things that we do. We focus on every different channel where we can do automated gathering of digital information about these storage tanks. So which means we gather sensor information, we facilitate the operators on the tank with tablet applications, and we do drone inspection. And if the previous presentation, the AquaXL wants to connect with us, we can store their photos in our platform as well and map them on the assets. And what we mainly do is we map the visual information, the sensor information, the tablet information to the asset, and based on that you have everything in one platform. And then from FMECA risk tables we can say, okay, so we see some corrosion here on a shell plate, and we think, or on a weld, and we think this is very important to focus on. And if we find corrosion on the stairway, then we think, well, it's still interesting because it gives the operator an unsafe feeling, but the tank won't leak any products because of corrosion on the stairway. So we help the assessor to focus on those things that are important. So what is Falcker if it's not a drone operator only? The most important thing is that Falcker creates software, asset integrity monitoring software. And we allow anyone that collects NDT data or anyone that collects visual data about the assets to integrate that within our software platform. So we offer tablet applications to the operator, and we have artificial intelligence to recognize mainly corrosion, oil spills, and water accumulation problems. And then we have sensor data distribution software that is able, if you have sensors on your assets or on your storage tank, to collect that and to present that within the same platform. On top of that, we provide services
first of all, based on the visual information that we collect with the drones. So we have visual recognition. We can recognize all the components within the images, but also anomalies, and combine those. We can create thermic images for if you want to see if there is corrosion under isolated tanks. And we can also collect gas emission data. So we can see if you have a floating roof tank, for instance, where in the seal is a problem, a leakage, and where do you have gas emissions. And in future, we can even say which type of gases and which concentration you have. Then on top of that, we provide data processing service. So what we do is every image that is taken, we do geomapping based on a real-time kinematic accuracy, so a 1 to 2 centimeter accuracy. We add anomaly recognition to that, and we can do geometric reporting. So we can create point clouds, and we can tell you if your storage tank is unround, for instance, or if there are any setting problems. We implement our own software, and on top of that, if you want to have autonomous drone inspection, we can implement the software, the workflow of Percepto, which is in the current regulations in the Netherlands not allowed, but we believe that we will manage that for 2020 to make that happen. And then we have some subcontracting, people that do laser scanning or 3D modeling, or companies that do NDT measurements or gas emission analysis and recommendation. And then we also have EMEA compliant tank integrity assessors, because our software platform allows the customer to do that themselves, but some customers don't have certified assessors in their company, so we can deliver them as well. Are there any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Dennis, also Duco, for a very nice presentation. I think it's a very interesting business challenge that you presented. But what I also see that you're talking about, or you're looking at a huge change challenge as well. So changing, say, from the present way of working to the new way of working. And can you explain a little bit how you deal with that?
Yeah. So what we see is that with the decline of operators, we are not aiming at either replacing these operators, or we don't believe that the digitalization of inspection is something that comes in place of the current inspection methods. We think it's an addition, and so this is one. And the other thing that we are looking at is the current ecosystem of companies that do NDT work is not something that we will replace, but we will funnel where they need to do NDT work more accurately. So if we see corrosion, for instance, then it's hard to see from a visual, from an algorithm standpoint, if it's pit corrosion or if it's just shallow corrosion. So, but if you think as an assessor that you see something that is worth investigating, then you should send an NDT company that does a wall thickness measurement or anything else that you want to investigate. The same happens for geometrical analysis. We can see if the tank is unround from the drone. We can also see if there are settings problems, but if you want a real accurate measurement, then you can send a laser scanning company that will do that analysis for you. Gas emission, the same thing. You have great companies like Sniffers or TP Europe that can do a gas emission analysis. We will not replace them, but we can signal that there is a tank that has a problem and send them directly to the tank. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I think it answers the question. What I understood from earlier contacts with Falcker is that you do these surveys on a regular basis. So you have an autonomous path that goes that the drone follows over the installation, and you do that, say, every month, and then you can see if anything is changing over time. Maybe it's good to elaborate a little bit on that.
Right. Yeah, so this is also one of the reasons why we are aiming at autonomous flying. The more you do the visual inspection, we have a very accurate process that is being repeated all the time. So if anything changes on the tank, we can see that, but we can also see how much the deterioration is and give warnings about that. So and then again, it's like a signaling function. It's an alerting function. Because we do it more often and more frequent, we can detect problems very early in stage and give warnings to the assessors.
Exactly, that's what I understood as well. And when I refer to the change process, I also understood that you're trying, say, to train operators, say, to even work with the equipment themselves. Is that true?
Yeah, that is correct, and that is also our aim. Not that the drone operating is going to be a Falcker service, but in the end, we hope that it will be just a terminal equipment where the operator from the operator room just hits the start button and the visual process take place. And the same is that we offer the operators tablet application, ATEX-proof tablet applications, that if they are walking on the tank and they see anything worthwhile, they can take a picture and create deficiencies from their tablet application.
Exactly, that's the change I also meant with the say the change in behavior of people, the way they operate the plant, the way they say they do the inspections. I think that's a real big change that requires quite a change effort as well. I don't see any questions online yet. Maybe if anybody in the audience still has a question, please put it on the chat. Otherwise, maybe it's also good to mention the way you can use your technology. Yeah, sorry.
Well, maybe one question also from this element. You focus very much on the, I guess, the challenge and the technical aspect. But also, if I look, for example, at the Percepto drone, is that drone flying can be an expensive business. If you do it frequently, then it can become quite costly. Can you say something about how you see the business impact for the let's say the tank terminal owners in terms of the conventional approach?
You mean the business case?
Yeah. So I guess in the short term, that it's quite likely that the cost of drone flying will be higher than the conventional approach.
Yeah.
But as you indicated, you're doing this for the longer term with the upcoming change. But how do you, as a company, see the business case for the tank terminal owners?
Yeah, if you look at there's one misconception if you look at the business case. If you just look at the business case in saying, this is how we currently inspect and this is how we are now might replace it with digital means, and this is what we currently spend and this is what we would spend if we would replace it. Well, that's from my opinion the wrong approach. Because then you also have the discussion, well, we already have these people on the payroll, so why would I do that? And I don't think that is the way that you should look at it. What happens is that once we start adding this to the inspection process, then the inspections will be much more accurate. You will be much faster in detecting any potential problem, and you have full history of everything that you see. So from a compliancy perspective, you can look. You have a full coverage of the status of your assets, and you can look back. And the more that we gather information, the better it will become, because the artificial intelligence will become much more accurate over time. And when we implement the Percepto workflow with autonomous flying, then we don't need any people that are present on the site to do the piloting anymore. If we are in the CTR, we don't need any people that will contact the airport on the radio, and we don't need any observers yet. So currently, a drone visual inspection might be costly, but we already reduced those costs for 50% in the last 2 years. But when you implement autonomous flying, the cost will go down and you can fly much more frequent without any additional cost.
Okay, thanks for that explanation. I think in view of time, if there are no further questions coming in, we will need to wrap up soon. And actually, before people leave, we still have a little poll. We just would like to know how you got to know about this webinar. So for those of you online, would appreciate if you would still complete the poll for us. We can use that in future communication. And while we wait for the poll results to come in, since we see no further question, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the presenters for today, Duco and Des, and of course Martin for stepping in as an expert and I think having some excellent questions. So Martin, thanks for that, and I hope to see you all in the next webinar. Thanks, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.